Why is then the vacancy not filled in the legislature? Now we are drawing to the SOPA. Because, I mean, the MK party is a 9-seater party in the legislature. In fact, your caucus should have at least 9 members. You currently have 8.
I think, remember after the court judgment in July?
Yeah.
Yes, that was the process which was supposed to happen. I never saw that letter from Duduzile, but the letter from Duduzile, which was unfortunately also that communication leaked by uSkhwameni.
Yeah.
Because before Floyd left, he wanted to change members of the PPLC, IEC.
Okay.
And himself also enlisting himself to national IEC at the national level. So that was the issue which was Duduzile was commenting about that.
Yeah.
It cannot be changed. Finally now, the organization requested that I should be enlisted because the constitution of uMkhonto weSizwe, the way it's designed, you cannot hold governance and structure.
Okay.
Yeah, but the president has the final say, on a prerogative to say you can hold both. So okay, to make sure that, because there's lots of noise and whatever, that is the process which you can do.
Yeah.
I must just say to you now, the ANC is blocking that.
So the ANC is blocking you going to the legislature now. But how?
That's the thing. They've been given a name. They are refusing to do what they are supposed to be doing.
Today it's a special episode because I'm sitting with Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, the chairperson of the MK party in the Provincial, who happens to so it'll be very interesting to see how she navigates some of the topics, but infusing a little bit of Ndebele. I wonder,
Lotani. I was really
yeah. I was just contemplating on where to start, this conversation. But I just want to start where I'm frankly asking you, do you think you have a problem with South African media?
Yes. Especially mainstream media, yeah.
Simply because the reason why I'm asking is because I observed your predecessor, right, at the time when you were a public protector, how the media treated it, right? And I looked at you. In fact, she was deemed as the person who knew what she was doing, the public protector. And then when you came in, somewhat the media turned and said, you don't know what you're doing. There was that narrative. And I'm looking now at the incumbent public protector, Advocate Kale. And I'm thinking, the media is a bit soft on her. I mean, yes, I noted, obviously, the declaration of conflict that she's now put forward. I noted the report of Kanapala. Some of those things we'll talk about in a bit later. But I just look at how all three of you have been treated. It makes me wonder if you had an unhealthy relationship with the media.
Yeah, actually, in South Africa, the others are calling it the fourth state. Yeah. Remember, media will, they have a power to portray you, the guilty to be innocent, the innocent to be guilty. Yeah. And the narrative which they use in South Africa, they also hunt as a crowd. Your mainstream media, I mean, you remember, Mama Winnie Mandela. Yeah. You remember, Guti, how many years where she was treated badly? There was Stratcom. Remember, there's that person who confessed that we had to sit and plan, how are we going to destroy her image. And they did it. They made people to believe Uguti she killed Stompy, remember? And they repeated that over and over again. Coming to me, the same applies, because if you are a media darling, it's because you would be pushing their agenda. And it's fine. They will promote you even if you are doing any wrong. But then once you have somebody who's not captured, because they do capture a person. The imperialist, they pay them and they deploy you, which we are going to make sure that you do that. And when you operate in world politics, each country has interest in another country. Meaning we can be friends with the UK, US, Nigeria, but as South Africa, we also have our foreign policy, which is informed by our national policy and what is happening. And we need to protect our sovereignty. So other countries will try by all means to use the media, because some of them are not actually journalists.
Yeah.
Some of them are spies, who are infiltrating the country, who are making sure that the country must be destabilized.
Yeah.
So e-media is very much powerful. I mean, look at TV, look at, I've seen now to make you to also prepare yourself.
Yeah.
They see uguti podcast, you are not regulated.
Yeah.
Now they would want to regulate you, because they are seeing ukuthi at least we can use you for direct communication. So when I was the private protector, I used a lot of direct communication because that was the only option I could use. And I've continued to do that, and I'll use my social media pages to communicate my message. Yeah.
Just briefly, let's then delve into how best you describe your tenure as the public protector of South Africa, because that sort of tenure is mired in so many different views. Some have said, look, what you have set out to do from the inception when you took office, you achieved in the forms of the audit reports, the audit outcomes, and all of that. But some, obviously, they based your tenure on the amount of times you've been to court and how the courts have not ruled towards your favor. Then someone categorize your tenure along those lines. But how do you then view that?
It was a very successful almost 7 years tenure, because I was left with only less than a month. Yes. So, I mean, the first public protector in the history of that institution to acquire a clean audit. How do you judge government departments on compliance to the laws, on issues of ethics, when you yourself, you are not? You need to practice what you preach.
Sure.
How do I say to an institution, you've delayed to issue an ID? But when people are complaining to us as the public protector, we are failing to reach our own standards, which we've said. So the first public protector to acquire a clean audit, not only a clean audit, because others will say, no, but why do we have to praise the fish for swim? But it was also an drastical improvement of processing complaints on time, and we increased our performance exponentially. Because not only one clean audit, 3 clean audits, which we acquired. Yes, I might be judged, Ngoguti, because that's what, again, the media is operating with your international companies, where then whenever you say Busisiwe Mkhwebane or private protector, they will show this impeached, the bad, because then they do the cancel culture. The reports which one issued, because remember, my complaints with private protector, you come in, you lodge your complaint, there are early resolution complaints where we can pick up a phone, resolve your matter. There are those complaints where we'll say we need 6 months to 12 months service delivery related, where we need to investigation meaning write to the institution, give them certain dates, they respond, and us investigate, because others will say, but why do you have to go back to the institution and complaining? It's because we want to hear their side of the story, because when we investigate, we hear your story, their story, then in fact, is your truth? Is their truth? Tinage, we determine what is the truth using the available evidence and the applicable laws. So, amanyama complaints, you finalize them like that. Without writing a report, because institution acknowledges, no, we were wrong, we will pay you mhlambe your pension, we process your ID quickly, the matter is resolved. But then amanye ke uthola ukuthi we need to deal with systemic issues. Then we have to investigate. And the corruption, we need to investigate it, get bank statements and all those, and write reports. So reports, investigation, unfortunately, ngendlela enzeke ngayo ukuthi I never blamed my investigators because the buck indeed stopped with me, because my issue report is signed. Though the investigation is done by the investigators, I mean, even in provinces, I'm not there. They meet with the institution, they collect evidence, they write reports. There's then, when we have a finding against you, we write to you as an institution. We've got the following findings. Tell us, why must we not find against you? Then if you have new evidence, you can give, but if not, then we finalize that report, because signatures are what we call odi alteram partem rule. We hear the other side. Evidence. If you are Pigisa, give us
Somewhat of a right of reply.
Exactly. So then when you do that, then we finalize the report. We issue the report. Then people take us on review, and it's within their right. Because you remember there was a stage, it's as if I'm a law unto myself and whatever. But the fact of the matter is, at least you can go to court and review. Exactly, because if I didn't act correctly, then the court can say, but you didn't act correctly here. It was estimation of around 420 reports which I've signed since 2016. And out of that is less than 100. No, in fact, when I was going for a Section 194 committee hearings, it was, I think, less than 60, which were taken on review. But then out of 420, and then out of those, Utologuti, by then it was around 20 something, which were against the public protector, the institution. So there, when the court says, no, here you didn't apply the law correctly, here you didn't do this. So unfortunately, all those were against the who's who. Hence, you remember it was getting that media traction. And again, that process helped to even expose the judges. Because with my predecessor, it was saying nothing precludes the public protector to refer the matter to NPA and instruct NPA what to do. But with me, I was wrong. It was saying you cannot do that as a public protector. So I think, again, it goes back to that issue of subjective by the media, and now you are like regarded as this person who doesn't know the law, because the constitution is very firm or very strict in removing the public protector, because that's what the then Nelson Mandela, when he was visiting one of the universities, I think it was South Korea, where he made some presentation, or Taiwan, where he said we would want to have such institutions in such a way that we don't want them to be easy to remove them. And public protector is like an ombudsman. It's a Swedish kind of arrangement, and it's the king who appoints somebody, Judge King, who said, look after my affairs, I'm not in a right perspective. So hence they saw it fit, because one judge commented, you know what, for us to remove this person, better sim bankrupt. So those cases, there's the CX, Reserve Bank, where I was clobbered with personal costs by the Constitutional Court. On top of that, they said, no, I lied in one of the things. That matter is still before court. And just to make sure, I am pushed out. I mean, at the end of the day, I was persecuted for the CX Reserve Bank matter. I was then also persecuted for the CR17 bank statement matter, and I think the so-called rogue unit matter against Pravin Gordhan, SARS matter. But at the end of the day, those matters were again used against me before the Section 194 committee. So it was not even double jeopardy, it was triple jeopardy, because others I paid personal costs, but at the end of the day, I ended up being removed as the fire protector. But few cases, out of the 420, out of the lives we've impacted, I mean, I still receive a lot of good stories wherever I go. You know, you helped us. I received my pension, the housing issue, you know, the work which we did as a collective, yeah.
Would you say President Cyril Ramaphosa is protected by the system? Because, I mean, I'm looking at how they conceal those banks. They should do at the forefront of actually getting maybe the nation to have a view of what's going on. Who are some of, the donors who are part of the bank statements? Would you say, because others argue that any sitting president is protected by the system, and now others would argue that president of the weSizwe party, when he was in power or when he was in office, he was somewhat shielded by the system. He immediately came out, or when he ceased to be president, the might of the state came out on him. Now, the incumbent President Ramaphosa, is a sitting statesman, then the system is on protecting him. What's your view, having dealt with those issues at that level?
Yes, President Ramaphosa is protected. I mean, if you check everything which has happened since he started, 8 years now to 9 years, if you check the unemployment rates have increased, poverty has increased, our living conditions have worsened, water challenges, electricity costs is very exponentially high. And I mean, cost of living, normally I would say we are in kind of a recession, though it's kind of hidden, we were once enlisted go FATF, because if you are enlisted there, it means you are the most corrupt country, there's more money laundering, and those things happened after the issue of Palapal, When as an ordinary citizen, you can't just stuff your dollars and euros in your foreign currency. There's a limitation.
You just can't keep
exactly. Yes. So Yena is protected by the system. Whereas President Zuma, I wouldn't say that, because remember, he was the one who, the former pipe protector, remember, issued that report? And then, yes, the first one. And even the other report, the state of capture report, where he was saying, but you are usurping my powers. Remember, where she was saying there must be a commission of inquiry. Commission of inquiry established is the president's prerogative in terms of the constitution. And even she went further and instructed to see Chief Justice, you must appoint a judge to do ABCD, And what did the courts do? They saw the system never protected President Zuma when he was the president. No, he was facing the system which was against him, because at the end of the day, what he was doing for the poor and the marginalized. Unfortunately, in South Africa, when you are somebody who remove or who liberate the people or the poor and the marginalized, the oppressed, you become the enemy of the state.
Are you bound
by not saying who are the persons you saw on the bank statement?
That information was out there. I mean, I exposed those during my testimony with Section 194 committee, because remember, that information was also in my affidavit, a constitutional court, because I was helping the court to say, but these are the people who have donated millions and millions of rands, and those people, at the end of the day, they benefited after that, because it's like a gratification. Corruption is a gratification. I give so that I can benefit. And most of them, they received contracts, they received some were even appointed positions because of donating to the campaign by then the deputy president, who was the member of cabinet because the Deputy President is a member of Cabinet and is obligated to disclose. And that investigation was based on that. So unfortunately, then the system protected. Yeah, that information is public information.
And I just want to just navigate around some of the highlights of your career just to get where I want you to. You were part of the reason why I invited you. Then there was this committee.
Set out to probe into your fitness. And then strange things started happening. I mean, we even lost the life of Peterson in the process. I mean, how vile was the now Minister of Water and Sanitation and the chairperson at the time of that committee? Because you seem to had a gripe with them, you know, Pemi Majodina at one point, and the chairperson who headed that committee. You know, what was the relationship? Why did your relationship turn sour to a large extent? Even, you know, your spouse had to be drawn into the space because, I mean, you were the one held in fitness, but in the manner in which things started happening, it suggested that there was an ulterior motive.
No, not to say I had issues with them, but you remember Janji, how he was treating me during those proceedings. He was very much biased. He was conflicted because during he was serving with Justice Portfolio Committee. Sure. When I was appearing there as a public protector, you know, the comments he made about my performance and other things, then the very same person must judge you. Remember also the husband to Mazone was sitting in that Section 194 committee. They must recuse themselves. They refused. We took it to court. Well, the judge says, well, the way they decided on the matter, when we appealed, it was heard after the removal, and then we were told the matter is mute. But then abuse happened, and it shouldn't have been that kind of outcome. So it was not to say I had issues, no, Pemi Majodina, but maybe she had issues with me because there was a complaint which was lodged by members of the ANC against her, which she was abusing party funds. And there was a report we issued which reflected and showed Uguti, Parliament, when you allocate funds to parties, you also need to audit them properly. You need to make sure that those are state funds. They follow the processes and legislative provisions. So there was a finding, Uguti, she also gave a tender to her son during the process. But the issue was, Tina Jumat Peterson, may her soul rest in peace, was assisting to say, you know what, these people, they say they demand 200,000 each so that they can then make sure that this matter, they finalize it in your favor. But then it was, no, that can't happen. Why must we bribe them? And there is evidence. Those recordings are still there. And the criminal case was opened. Again, the SAPS is delaying to finalize that investigation because the involvement of my husband was because Utina Jumat, instead of speaking to me, she approached him to say, you know what, there's something like this, and possibly out of pity and wanting to help that, but it can't be. But being sent by them. To this day, we don't know what happened to her after exposing those. So that's the kind of country we're living in.
So you think her fight to expose corruption, we can't rule it out from how she subsequently passed on?
Yeah, there is indeed a causal link between the two. There is, unfortunately, with the kind of law enforcement you've seen now currently before the Madlanga Commission, the ad hoc committee, what is being exposed. So thanks to General Mkhwebane, because that's the mafia state we live in.
Sure. And obviously then there's a ruling, or there's a somewhat the committee suggests to Parliament that it should be impeached. Parliament goes on to actually okay to get impeached, making history. First public protector South Africa to be impeached. And then you immediately join, not immediately, but subsequently you join the economic fighters. Were you really drawn by Floyd?
Because that's their session. Because I saw now, they said I mean, you came with Floyd. You know, there's that narrative that is being pointed out that.
That's not. Let me clarify. The process in Parliament, the way it was done, my rights were seriously violated because I never had an opportunity to present. I presented my side of the story, but then remember I didn't have legal representation. There was a constitutional judgment that I must be provided. Galega withdrawing legal representation and all those. Then they finally wrote the report without the matter being brought to finality. Anyway, we took it on review. Again, the subjectivity of the courts against me. That's the matter. Then finalized. Yes, indeed, I joined EFF. Indeed, I was recruited by Floyd because he approached me to say, you know, we would be interested that you can join. And if he approaches me, I was not used to him, I didn't know him, but I was then I received a call. Possibly the number was given by Advocate Mpofu because it was my legal representation. Anyway, engaging, I said, no, I don't mind. It could be something I would do because still, if you are a member of parliament, you are the voice to the voiceless. And checking their 7 pillars, I was drawn to them. The same thing, Yogu, uplifter and to liberate the oppressed. And indeed, I agreed to join EFF. And when I agreed finally, we went to Nelson Mandela House, the EFF. So when the CIC is saying he never even spoke to me, he's not telling the truth. Because when we were finalizing, it was Floyd, it was SG, and then they took me to the CIC. We met, and he said, welcome to EFF, and thank you for joining us. I went to Parliament, I served them in Parliament, and, you know, me resigning with EFF, indeed, uMkhonto weSizwe was now the party which I could relate to more than anything else.
Advocate, you then made statements on social media, or rather you tweeted on X and said you thanked them, but there was a comment you made that this thing of democratic centralism did not resonate with you.
It was not on Twitter. Okay. It was an interview with weSizwe Mpofu podcast.
SMWX, sure.
I said, hey, there's things which I didn't understand. And I was like meaning it in the sense that some decisions, the way they are taken, you know, Toluguti, any democratic centralism by then, it was the issue, Guti. It was too much a top-down approach, not giving you an opportunity to engage on a matter and then yes, democratic centralism is applicable in a political space, which is understandable, but it depends on how do you apply it. So then when a decision, after robust engagement, and there's difference, then democratic centralism is when then a decision is taken by the collective, it binds you. So now I understand it better. But it was also meaning a lot of other personal things which happened. Because I remember when I decided, no, I don't think I would stay anymore. I remember, because with EFF, when you are a public representative, you are purely and strictly serving at the pleasure of the party. Meaning, you need to make sure that, the story is so good. When you are public, you must buy a buggy.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you whether you bought the buggy at the time.
Yes, I had a buggy.
So because I know, sorry to just interject, because I know there's a lot of councillors whom I'm talking to in the province of Mpumalanga. Some have left the EFF. They're not happy with that system because obviously then they will narrate how much they get paid versus the buggy and all of that, and said, but obviously, they will not prefer a buggy, but they will prefer a car. But then there's this constant demand.
It's a good system,
sure.
I must tell you.
Yeah.
Because EFF is also not in government. It's a good system in the sense of which you are a public servant.
Sure.
You understand? Because ibhaki, when you go in your campaigner, you can put a lot of things at the back. A car, you can't buy a BMW and be expected to drive lapha eKanyamazane. Uthola ukuthi, you know, usentabeni, yabona, exactly. You can't. So you're not a good. But the problem is that it's compulsory, and if you don't do that, abanye, you remember they were taken to DC. That. Then it's worse because when I was told, my sister-in-law passed on, my sister, the sister to my husband. Friday, you are told you must be at Tabazimbi by this particular time. You're going to this ward, and Mauya Lapo, you must make sure Gutama volunteers, they get food, they get transported, you buy them t-shirts. So it's like that. The party doesn't spend. You spend the money you are getting. And which is...
What about then your needs?
That's why I need to, you serve at the pleasure of the party. So for me, that then caused instead also it contributed, because then there's not that soft and human element was never there. You send a message, I've got a bereavement, no one, the SG never bothered to even check. I had to write, give me time, my in-laws, because Pelas Mandrebel, hey, I have to be here, I have to... nothing. Exactly. Nothing was said. Sure. I ended up saying, instead of being dismissed, because Waba is Sugar Floyd and perceived as if I came no Floyd. And Floyd, it was the only time when I was brought in where I was not
that's the only interaction that in the party, I suppose, you'd have.
So, and then, that thing, you know what, these people, instead of now you'll face the same situation. But that was also one of the things. Elements of where you feel good. It means I'm no longer wanted here. I'd rather than create a space. Because for me also was saying, you know what, why must I mislead or not be honest to the party? Why can't I just move away and then give the next the space to somebody else? But that then caused a lot of anger. My EFF followers, it's like I betrayed them. But I had that very serious personal issue. It's a soft issue. Some things are so personal, you know, because it depends on how you treat me. Yes, it's politics. But at the end of the day, I think that human touch is needed.
You know, I want to speak about that touch, but maybe I'll park it for now. I just want to carry on the timeline. Now, you join the MK party, and among the many other things, Baba Sekaya is with the party, so it makes sense. You know, Babu Skozane has already joined in. He's very active, and I remember engaging in him, you know, in some of the social settings of the party when I was doing media coverage. And
before he was based in Mpumalanga,
sure,
running up and down,
sure,
even recruited and worked with the
sure,
party. Yeah.
At the time. Let's talk about then you joining the party, and then subsequently, I think few months in, the president elects you, or appoints you rather, to lead the MK party. And then there was this differing views with those who were already leading. They did not obviously warmly receive that, because they felt like your appointment was not going to coexist with their existence in the party. And obviously that created a lot of turmoil. How best do you reflect into what has happened? I don't want to delve deep, people know the stories, but I just want to understand it from your perspective, because they've also shared their perspective with us. But I'm interested to find out your perspective when, you know, I'm now reminded of a meeting where I was told, by uMampadi Ati, there was a meeting where former President Jacob Zuma, president of the MK party, called you guys into a meeting. And then Gwatiwa Hambanyo Sebenza. But then you kept on going back and asking, how are we going to Sebenza, because the tools are with these ones and whatnot. Just paint me a picture, how best you reflect honestly on that tenure, and what are your recollections of how that meeting happened? Maybe just to represent you with this.
No, you know what? I was announced by the president. I agreed not to say it's my husband, or also because himself, even before announcing the party, are saying, hey, you must come back, let's work, I want to unite even yourselves as EFF come this side, insisting that you must come to join uMkhonto weSizwe. So uMkhonto weSizwe, I came because of President Zuma. And when he announced my appointment, because I then said, I think I better move away from EFF. And when I was saying, no, I'm going to at home and whatever, other people took it like, no, I'm following my husband. But it was the issue, which, you know what, I think I'll find more
Solace, peace.
exactly there.
Because obviously now you have this friction.
Yeah.
You are labeled as a Floyd person in the EFF.
Exactly, and but besides that, well, it's corridor talks, but the treatment I received, and I think I better said, no, let me move. I was announced 25th of October, as I told you. And the announcement was, go, we will appoint a task team to work with. Indeed, Upadi sent me a message with a letter welcoming my appointment as the convener. It was fine. And then I thought I would work as a convener. Then during the process, the office of the SG and the DSG, then they said, no, there's now this report, which was done by Judge Lope by then before joining, which was recommending her removal with Mdluli, Lukele, and some Sfisozu. And then, and her behavior, this is a letter which she must also be expelled. It needs to be delivered. Because now on reflection, as you say, and I even mentioned it several times to the leadership, the problem was that, and any other person you can ask, Abantu who were there, was that I was thrown into the lion's den. Because you cannot throw me there whilst there's still people who are leaders in that space coming and navigate there, because I'm told you're going to be the convener, you are working with the task team. Now it's not my responsibility to putting it in tate people who are there, because I'm told you are working, you'll be, and another task team, I never had a say. Who was it? Floyd then decided to go and present them and brought them. I worked with them. Naboge, they had their own expectations. They were there before. Abos Kwame, you were prior, apparently, Mama convener. Now you are convener or coordinator. Now, Nabobana, my expectations were up. Now it's politics.
Now it's like you guys are fighting amongst yourselves.
Exactly now. Now again, the issue, we are removing, we are finally legislature. That was the decision, national. I think if you can see, I was trying by all means not to enter the fray. I think you called, or some media houses will call me, she says this, there's this, and I would say, no, talk to Ntlamul.
So I remember,
yes.
I mean, there was a point you also directed me to Ntlamul, it's like talk to the national spokesperson.
Yes, because I was trying to, say, it's not my doing. But unfortunately, in the mix, I ended up naming again. No, the convener. Remember, I was also threatened to how can I call myself a convener? Whereas I'm appointed, and I can't just sit. I must do the work. And being a person who's very committed to what I do, once I commit myself, I'm very much passionate. So there were then those issues. I mean, even to this day, 16 months down the line, I'm still doing the work of the organization without resources. You understand? So, why? Because I'm committed to see one day, seeing Mpumalanga, MK being the leader. And at the end of the day, when you tell yourself what you want to serve, you need to sacrifice. Well, unfortunately, one has sacrificed prior. Now even I'm still sacrificing. So it was not meant to say mina ngize kapatla kyalwana yazi basipedi ba re utlile kapatla when now yes no. But anyway, I'll just explain myself like that. Because other people have concluded Uguchi, I'm this maybe evil person, I'm this. there's nothing I can do. It's something beyond my control. But mina ngeza ngokuthi ngizosebenza because I'm given a space.
Yeah.
And the meeting, to tell you, President indeed told us, no, today I won't be doing this. Actually, I agreed to that meeting. Mang approach, it's people who were sent. Uguchi, can you work together? Because I remember there was Abo Sbi and Abo, who's this one? Was uMkhonto. I'll remember uMkhonto.
Yeah.
Exactly, because they are the ones, apparently they approached the president to say, you know what, we want to work in Mpumalanga, uMkhonto weSizwe. Can you assist in? I'm the one who said, I'm available. We can go to the president, so that as Kulumise and would clarify, can you give her space to operate? And that's what Nama said. And I think by then, dismissal, the court issue, the ANC speaker, naye got to know there's a court judgment, therefore I can't do anything. You remember that judgment? So it was saying, trying to find a way to work. And I was not at all, to this day, fighting anyone. So it was just for me to do the work. But things then went out of hand. The meeting, the president was addressing us. It's me who asked the president. So President Mau cancel and say you'll come back. In the meantime, what do we do? Then President said, Hambanyo Sevens. And why I was saying that, I was asking about the people we identified during Floyd Masingen. I said, tasked him, said, go and identify regional leaders. And we had to go to all the 17 sub-regions. Nama members of National High Command. And people chose those people as interim. Therefore, being minabone, because today, Besmita, then the plan was that all those people the following day are coming, president is addressing them. I was asking Uguti, now what do we do? What Hambanyo Sebenza? I asked the question, I was answered, not her. Then I said to go, can we have the resources at least to do the work? Then said, no, I'll come back and then we will resolve all the issues. It was a follow-up question. Then that was what transpired during that meeting.
Yeah. There was this communique I saw, and I'm not sure how authentic it was, but it seemed to suggest that you had a long list of complaints that you forwarded to National about Floyd when he was the national secretary. I don't know if you can talk to us around that. How then did you and Floyd manage to, I'll call it fallout, or how did you not appreciate his style of leadership when he was the secretary? How did he not support you? Because among the other things I recall seeing was how, I don't know if you penned it down, but I'm interested to find out, but it seeks to suggest that you said he was not supporting you, deliberately sabotaging you. I think you would give an instruction and then somewhat secretary would come in and also give an instruction, and then you somewhat leveled a long list of complaints. You forwarded them to the national office, and that what is characterized as what culminated to him ended up living in the MK party and whatnot. Do you recall any of such a communication?
Yeah, indeed. Hence I said to somebody who was interviewing me, and even when he was not at all supportive, because the people were identified, and he was not supportive in the sense that he was more comfortable to work with the one who was a coordinator, uMkhwebane. And you'll find that whatever deliberations we work on, the responsibilities, then communication will be sent to that person. I'm the chairperson or the convener, but you find that I don't know anything. He refused, he never signed those letters to appoint those people we identified. And remember, there were still those issues, factions, the others, they are asked, where's your appointment letter? You mustn't come to my wife. That chaos. So he didn't do that. He was not supportive. Ended up going back to the president to say, can you delegate uJaji Hlophe to assist us to establish detachment? Because remember, the four, Skwameni, Ngobeni, Pro, the late treasurer, decided to defy and not work with me after I said we will be visiting the region, the 3 regions, 17 sub-regions. Then President allowed uHlophe to then assist us. Indeed, people were interviewed for the detachment, and then 8 people were identified. Squameni was never interviewed because there was that thing, okay, possibly let's bring him back from that testing. Maybe we can, because the others, it was terrible. There was a serious fallout. What was being written and the insults and all those things. So Wabuyiswa never interviewed. Okay, we will work with. So Floyd at that particular time is still not supportive. He refused to announce our detachment. We were announced through the letter, media issued by Tlamol.
Sure.
And again, the noisemakers, unfortunately, the very same agent provocateurs, because those noisemakers, a lot of them have moved to Maibuye. They went, so you'll find all those elements inside because they make noise, but to destabilize again.
Sure.
Then he never supported us. He was doing as he pleased. There was the funeral of the late treasurer. May his soul rest in peace.
Did he not go to uMkhonto?
He went there,
Yeah.
but the thing is, Abo Pro and them, then they said, Amazon set food there. They will make sure that I am actually violently dealt with for the sake then of security and not to cause any scene. I called the family. I said, I'll come after the funeral. How can you be an SG and go to a funeral in a province and go and criticize the detachment and speak ill of the So it means he was also then deliberately trying to create a rift between the people of Mpumalanga and against me. So that's what, I don't know what I have done to him, unless I was also a stumbling block to him to create destabilization within the party. I don't know. But yes, a lot of those things which were in that letter, it's the complaints we've lodged with the officials, his behavior, and again, bringing the party into disrepute with that kind of behavior.
It's funny that Mary complained about Floyd, and you are also somewhat not happy with the leadership. And I wonder if I would ever get to sit down with him and just also hear his side of the story. Why is then the vacancy not fielded in the legislature? Now we are drawing to the SOPA. Because, the MK party is a 9-seater party in the legislature. In fact, your caucus should have at least 9 members. You currently have 8. And I remember there was a communique with the IEC where there should have been, that change. But as I remember seeing communication from uDuduzile Zuma at the time, who said, no, but people must not touch. There was somewhat of a communication like that to the IEC, which, in fact, telling members of the MK party that desist from that, leave the things as they are. The party is dealing with some of the processes. And I wonder why you are the chairperson of the MK party. The one would say maybe the normal thing to do is that you should have the chairperson in the legislature so that the chairperson gets to be the leader of the caucus, but also become the leader of the opposition, that type of thing, and advocate for what the party stands for in the legislature. But we're not seeing that in the MK party. Why is that?
I think, remember after the court judgment in July, yes, that was the process which was supposed to happen. I never saw that letter from Duduzile, but the letter from Duduzile, which was unfortunately also that communication leaked by Squameni. Because before Floyd left, he wanted to change members of the PPLC, we IEC. And himself also enlisting himself to National IEC at the national level. So that was the issue which was, Duduzile was commenting about that. It cannot be changed because, and not even involving the chairperson of the province of Floyd, include and Lister O AB Mkhwebane and Skwameni Nkulu. So then that was dealing with it. Actually, that was also a complaint was lodged with the Secretary General's office that behavior is so wrong because you cannot leak information like that to just the public. Anyway, it's one of those things the organization must deal with. Indeed, that was the original arrangement that I should be then going to Legislature to go and assist and capacitate the current team, which is there. Unfortunately, the organization took time to deal with that. Finally now, the organization requested that I should be enlisted because the constitution of uMkhonto weSizwe, the way it's designed, you cannot hold governance and structure. Yeah, but the president has the final say on a prerogative to say you can hold both. So Gwaba Guti, okay, to make sure that, because there's lots of noise and whatever, that is the process which you can do. I must just say to you now, the ANC is blocking that.
So the ANC is blocking you going to the legislature now. But how?
That's the thing. They've been given a name. They are refusing to do what they are supposed to be doing. Because the National Assembly, remember, our list, I expire after 12 months. We never replenished our list. National Assembly, that was done after 12 months. You remember business space 10 and whatever people, then we replenished. So in Mpumalanga, there was never that replenishment. And a National Assembly, remember, even from the original list, the IEC, we managed to put a number of people who were not on the list, but that was done. Yes, when it was done, it was approaching you, Musa, to say withdraw. Then we put our people. That's how it was done. But after 12 months, that list is it's no longer there. Then the process to follow is you submit a list and say, or a name, and say we are replenishing. Legislature, Secretary of Legislature must gazette the name. Then the person must be sworn in. So that's what they are refusing to do. So we're waiting for something in writing because now they are dilly-dallying. They don't want to do that.
So it is actually safe to say we might see you being sworn in and then as the next member of the MK party.
Yes.
I see. What is your relationship now with AB Mkhwebane and Skwameni Nkulu? Because I'm sure you know there was a voice note that circulated, and among the many things that were said there, that you were likened to an ex-Kari, and there was an example made that, in fact, if given a chance, mele bakufaka itayera bakushise.
And a person Yeah, no, I opened a criminal case. Then I got a protection order. Then that protection order was made final. So we cannot be in the same space because for my protection, I don't know whether that was meant in that. So the investigation is ongoing because anyway, it's a criminal case. So,
Manja, how are you supposed to lead together? I'm confused. I mean, you have the
what,
secretary and the chairperson who can't be in the same place.
You know what they did?
Yeah.
They wrote letters and distanced themselves from the detachment. And then before the meeting, yasesai card. So that's where the matter was presented to the meeting to say the secretary and they've distanced themselves from the collective. The meeting decided that, okay, since we have this evidence, send it to Secretary General, but we need to identify people who can then act in their positions. And then they took a decision that they must be suspended from
obviously the cohort or the leadership.
So that's the evidence, or that's the information which is there, which we then continue to work. So there was that thing then that, okay, I'm appointing people, I'm not appointing people. That is the
prerogative of the national,
And for us to do the work of the organization, it was easy to have people who are acting And they are volunteering
Yeah.
in those positions because Bona, they are getting a stipend, not working with us.
Yeah.
These ones are volunteering.
Is that still the case? Are they still receiving the stipend? Jeez. Maybe let's wrap up with the party politics now, getting to government. Your relationship with the caucus of the legislature in the MK party, because I was also told that there was a day you called a meeting and you said, no, let's meet in Wheatbank or Emalahleni. They said, no, but Tina, we are based in Bombela, we won't come up. And then there was that whole feud. Have you sorted issues out there?
Oh, well, the finale came, and I think we tried to work together because the main thing is, as the party, you cannot work in isolation. I mean,
Sure.
they are deployed by the party.
Sure.
And remember, we need to work together
Yeah.
to establish constituencies,
Sure.
to do outreach.
Yeah.
And for them, because Tina, we are on the ground,
Yeah.
we can then identify the false promises which
Sure.
are made and give to them. Then they can raise
In the legislature.
in the legislature,
Yeah. In the
hold
committees
the
and all of- yeah.
executive to account.
Yeah.
So that there's still a number of issues to resolve.
You must iron them out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe lastly, are you then able to keep track of the funds now? Remember, there was over 12 million rand that was issued out by, is it 20 or 12 million rand that was issued out by the legislature, of which you had a problem with it because it was given to somebody who was not a signatory. In fact, the legislature did give the constituency fund at that time. And I think at that time it was received by Mary Party. And you had a problem with that because the party had already given the legislature strict instructions that this person no longer represents us. And the money was given to her, and obviously she became the signatory. My question to you is, because what she told us is that they bought a truck with that money. I'm asking you now, you're the chairperson, are you able to verify if there was a truck bought using that money? And did you then, as a party, honestly audit and account to the legislature? Because I know that you're supposed to also furnish the legislature with what you have done. Are you able to honestly reflect back to that to say, okay, cool, here's money. Yes, indeed, we bought a truck for this and that. Do you now have a truck? Because I saw recently you bought bakkies.
I would say that is the matter for the Treasurer General to deal with, yeah. And there were documents which were presented to the Treasurer General of that issue of e-track. So I think I would say it's for the Treasurer General and the signatories to the bank account.
I see.
And I think now when we have a new Treasurer General,
Yeah.
and we've got policies
Yeah.
which deals with how the monies are also, controlled. There's
Sure.
that oversight.
I see.
To make sure that we can see where we spend money,
Yeah.
state money,
Yeah.
indeed it's benefiting to the public. Remember also, if we establish new constituency offices,
Yeah.
it's only the president, the SG, and the Treasurer General who must sign for those
Wow.
and
Okay.
commit the institution to those. We need those, but then it's not only that.
Yeah.
It's also the outreach matters which we do.
Sure.
So we're still trying to make sure that we work as a collective.
Yeah.
Currently, the members of the legislature are working more with the Squameni and AB, Comrade
Jeez.
Squameni and AB. And I think if we can make sure that at least that is,
Resolved.
spread.
Okay.
No. Their work, because we
Okay.
are there to across the 17 sub-regions.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes,
Because
the more we
Ger-
work together.
Yeah, because Gert is still not represented as we speak now. So
Exactly.
their constituency is not Gert. It's probably Ehlanzeni and Kangala. I see what you're saying.
Yes, so, and besides, even if Gert is not represented, but if you can make sure that all of us,
Yes.
all hands on deck,
Yeah.
that's what we are trying to do,
Sure.
Uchi. We then spread across. Remember, we are not in government.
Yeah.
And whatever we are utilizing,
Yeah.
it's for the benefit, Uchi. We can only hold the executive to account.
Yeah.
Until such time, LGE is around the corner.
Sure.
We are preparing ourselves. sithatha bomasipala.
Okay. Tatabo Maspala kanjani? I mean, you look at how you've performed in 2024, right? You did a clean sweep in uMkhonto. Bande became your turf, like it is your home ground. How have you then maximized your visibility, your ideology as a party, immensely into the people, such that when comes the local government elections, people don't have to think twice. They know the MK party. They cast their vote towards the party. What sort of talk to us around what is the strategy? What sort of work has been done to ensure that whatever victory you would have amassed in 2024, you still ride on it in 2026?
We've seen Ngama by-elections.
Yeah.
People will say, no, but we didn't win.
Yeah.
But it was the best preparation.
Okay.
Because, from 0 to 15%, from 0 to 18%,
Sure.
it's a lot.
It is.
For us. So that then gives us, and you cannot compare the national and provincial election to the LGE or AMA by-election.
Yeah.
So that is promising.
Sure.
Big time, because people are aware. uMkhonto weSizwe is a party to reckon with. People are tired.
Yeah.
ANC. And whereas others, they take it very personal. You can have an ANC working with a DA national party, which murdered, and even others are still missing their children. The way they treat, some of them are racist, feeding blacks to the pigs.
Yeah.
So that is a personal issue for people, and they are saying, you know what, we are tired when ANC and the corruption, alleged corruption, which they do, or their living conditions.
Yeah.
Because you have a councillor who never went to their areas.
Sure.
Their president even said it. Oguti, we must learn from DA or capacity dololo.
Yeah.
Yabo? So that
Yeah.
gives us an idea.
Sure.
Oguti we have, and we are VD based.
Yeah.
Branch. We are not like a ward.
Yeah.
So therefore, each and every VD
Voting
means a lot
district,
for us, because as long as we can have a visibility, then we show of performance. And we are so excited. We had training.
Yeah.
Yama structures on Sunday, Steve Jwet.
Yeah.
It was a resounding success.
Nice.
Everyone was there. The provincial election manager, Jonas Machiane, came. We were trained, and we are busy. We are moving. Yes, there might be some, because at the end of the day, you might have those who are just pulling us back.
Yeah.
But we were moving forward. And the message even now is, everyone, let's put our differences aside. Let's work for the organization. Everyone will get a position, because you might not be in the structure, but you'll be in the governance.
Yeah.
You might not be in the governance, you'll be employed.
I see.
You know?
see.
So
Well,
I think if
yeah,
people can
yeah.
take it like that.
I know that the ANC is currently going through their own candidates they're going to field in. They're checking whether they have qualifications and whatnot. Are you guys also, as the MK party, approaching the same philosophy to say, we are not just going to field in any councillor because they were the ones doing the door-to-door, but we need to put people who have the credentials or who have the qualifications to go and advance, obviously, the mandate of the party? Is that the thinking?
And not really. Remember, uMkhonto weSizwe's believer, people must decide who they want.
Yeah.
We cannot impose any candidate on people. So the strategy is ready. We will also reveal how we are going to be doing it.
Yeah.
Because you might not have the qualifications, but the people, they want you.
Yeah.
Because you are helping them, you are
Yeah.
changing their lives.
Yeah.
Therefore, I think there will be that balancing act. But then there would be those, then you'd find Kambe SMA.
Yeah.
We're saying at least have the following,
Yeah.
so that, you must read pay documents, financial
Yes.
statements.
Yes.
We want to make sure that we don't have the problems which is currently happening.
Yeah.
You see, AG, a lot of municipalities
Sure.
have got qualified disclaimers.
Sure.
So that we shouldn't repeat.
Yeah.
We need to have councillors at least who can ask the right questions,
Yeah.
hold the executive to account,
Yeah.
and make sure we don't waste state resources, the service delivery. Remember, my local government now is your bread and butter issues, your water, your sanitation, electricity, and all those.
Yeah. I know that is still early, but how confident are you that you would at least control a municipality?
We will control the
Which region?
Yeah?
Which region?
All the regions. All the regions, yes. Mhlambe Ikhart might be leading.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Ihlanzen is also coming.
Yeah.
Nkangala. I mean, if una 18%,
Yeah.
imagine if you have an 18% in that particular ward
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah.
You understand?
That's a lot.
So if you've competed for ward and PR,
Yeah.
definitely uzopuma na something.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
able?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're standing a good chance.
I know we are drawing to a conclusion, but I want us to look into how best do you think the province can be governed. We're recording this just at the eve of the State of the Province address. What is fundamentally wrong in the province?
You know, not only in the province, let's start from national.
Yeah.
We've got the president for the past 8 years.
Yeah.
I mean, even the premier, they go Muskusona and they
Go
present.
debate,
But present those intentions which they never come back and say, you need to, because, well, some of us are technocrats.
Yeah.
We worked, with the fact that you need to have your strategic document plan.
Sure.
You need to then have your budget.
Sure.
And fund that.
Yeah.
And we've got annual performance plan.
Sure.
I mean, we committed to deliver so many IDs.
Yeah.
Did we do that?
Yeah.
So normally, president, they go there, that 2 hours, akulume, na premier, the same thing. So as uMkhonto weSizwe, the opposition, most of the time, now since I started, it's applying that principle to check what promises did you make in 2024. 2025, you're still repeating the same thing. You're speaking. Ghana State of the Nation must be saying, we promised this, ne? And then this is what we've done.
Yeah.
And then we are rolling over. We
This,
need to achieve the following. They don't do that. They bring new things, and the ones they promised, they still repeat, which we will be doing this.
Yeah.
So if you check, like Amafelas, Uma district, Ehlanzeni, persistent water shortages,
Sure.
bushback regime, Komazi,
Sure.
they promised in the bulk water
I
supply,
remember, yeah.
but nothing is happening. Sewer spillage, Mbombela, you affecting communities, Kanyamazan. You've got roads as it deteriorates, and especially Boma tourism, like here's the view.
Yeah.
We could be leveraging a lot
Sure.
if you can focus on also making sure those roads are fine. Housing delivery, incomplete RDP projects, that's hurt. Njalo that's Hlanzeni hurt. Ipumula outfall sewer crisis affect a lot of communities, around 32,000 households, aging water infrastructure, uMkhonto, Msugalikwa. Youth unemployment for the whole of the province, still
It's bad.
50% is
It's
bad.
Yeah.
Incomplete sanitation in Amsterdam and in Kangala district, Delmas wastewater. There's a child who also died with sewage.
Yeah, I saw.
uMkhonto, the same thing.
Yeah.
This
But
day and
uMkhonto, but
age-
it was that pit, right? That was dug by the
Yes.
service provider.
Yeah. But where's my municipality?
I see.
Remember?
Yeah.
Where's contract management?
Sure.
Because we should be checking, we gave you a contract, did you do the work? And then no kupile lapo, we need to go back. So electricity instability, Malahleni, water, bonile zinambeni,
Sure.
abogogo manje they must, in town,
Yeah.
ANC, down the drain. So I think it's so concerning because they should be doing. Another problematic issue is this thing yoguti, for instance,
Yeah.
there's several schools which are closed. Somebody was saying, that it's an aging community.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
abogogo,
Yeah.
basele nezugulu.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the mothers take their children to town, and then in Kolo, then they are no longer being.
They don't
exact-
enroll learners, yeah.
Yes, and then they merge schools. Then the others, they remain a white elephant. They were saying, what promise you premier last year, we will repurpose them, which is supposed to be like that.
Sure.
For instance, uMkhonto, if there's something like that, they don't have a TVET or any higher we don't have.
Yeah, but I mean,
Why
they'll
don't
justify it and say they'll have it in they call it the Kharsibande TVET College, which is way far from Kondo. I mean, learners have to travel all the way
But
to...
why not establish
Yeah.
one in uMkhonto?
No, I hear you. I hear
Yes, you can do that, and you have those infrastructure is gone, but besides as well, not caring for the people with children with disability.
Yeah.
They're slow learners.
Sure.
We don't have schools like that. You find a child must go to the normal 20
No, we do have
elementary
disability
school.
schools, but I don't think enough resources are going there, right? You remember there was a story, I'm sure it would have landed in the public protector's radar at one point, where you would find that they are not sending enough teachers. Now, you have a school that has a lot of learners with special needs, but there's not enough teachers. And obviously then the purpose is, why are you then sending them there?
Or not enough, or there's the infrastructure. There's one Evolve Corp.
Yeah.
That one was the worst when I was still the member of parliament. It was terrible because it was school special needs. They took a resort by NZ boarding school. Toilets are blocked, they are not flushed, there's allegations of sexual abuse with those children who are deaf. And yes, so the department should be focusing more on the education of our children. I mean, changing that, but monitoring, Uguchi, if we've established that school, is it properly catered for? Because in school, you've got your health system, you've got your water and sanitation. Those are key issues, especially going for the local government, especially water and sanitation issues. People are unemployed. Municipalities, you cannot expect people to pay because they are unemployed. Well, that is a national issue, unfortunately, because the division of revenue is still concentrated to national and province. It's more on the local government because that's where service delivery is. I don't know why. Well, I know FIC has been recommending that change. They are not doing it. I think there must be more push by political parties to do that.
Without that, Advocate, it's been an honor to sit down with you.
Thank
There's
you.
a lot we can talk about, but let's park it here for this time. I hope that a part 2 will come. I know that there's going to be things that will necessitate a part 2, but I wish you all the best in the work that you do.
Towards a cool Wamambala.
Yeah, Mpumalanga, there you have it. Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane. She managed to sit down with us, give us a sense of how are you finding this interview. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your loved ones.